Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your February 2024 Astro Tarot Scope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Saggy, this is for you. But remember, if you're only going to watch one of these, make sure it's for your ascendant. It's going to be that much more accurate for you on that day-to-day level. And obviously with that said, remember, they are general readings, so you should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, for those of you that would like to know, I am always using whole sign tropical Western astrology. So that's the system that works best for me. I do blend some other bits in there as well. And obviously all of this is modeled around the tarot reading. So if you would like to get your personal tarot, Astro Tarot Scope with me, you can do so on the link in the description box below. And also, if you would like to learn tarot from yours truly, you can do so. There are still spaces on the link in the description box below. This is, if you're watching this as I put it out, there are still spaces. If you're watching this sort of towards the end of February, enrollment will be closed. Enrollment is from the 18th of January right the way through to the 31st of January. All right, so this is a big month for all of us. Cast your mind back to March of 2023, March 7th, Pluto moves into the sign of Aquarius for about 6 to 8 weeks. I think it was slightly longer than that, but you know, thereabouts. We get a little taster of it. 21st of January of this month. Yes, this reading is for February 2024, but this is an important backdrop, right? So 21st of January, Pluto moves back into the sign of Aquarius. It's going to be there now until September 8th. And this time round, Pluto is going to meet the personal planets of Mercury, Mars and Venus. Now, this is a pretty big deal because we didn't have this the last time this transit took place. And all of this is happening at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Cast your mind right back to 2020 when we had the great conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter at 0 degrees of Aquarius, kicking off a brand new cycle for the next 200 years. So this is all pretty big stuff. We're all having massive activations, and for you, because Pluto is moving into your third house, especially for those of you that are rising sign Saggies, to the rest of you to a lesser extent, but you'll still feel this in some way. Your third house of communications, conversations, your daily interactions, your local neighborhood, siblings, cousins, neighbors. Your third house also rules your skills, your skill sets, things that you do with your hands, your websites, the information that you utilize and digest on a daily basis is your third house, right? So in your communications and conversations house, Pluto comes in. Over this course of this next however many months till September, where Pluto will then dip back into Capricorn for, I think it's not even a full 2 months, and then it comes back in on November 20th for the next 20 years. This is important because how people receive you from here on in, surface level conversation and communication just isn't going to cut it for you guys anymore. Pluto is bringing power, control, intensity. It brings, all of these things to the surface. Now, one of the ways that people could receive you is as being quite sort of probing, quite intense. Maybe the way that you communicate from here on in, people are like, you're really getting into it. Or, maybe you even hear people say to you, like, I feel like you're having a go at me or something, and you're like, no, it doesn't feel like that for me. But like the level to which you are going to dig for information. The third house is all about the mind as well. So this is a fantastic transit for you to do research. This, for you, we find the Lord of haste and speed, right? Because on the 5th of the month, Mercury is going to come into a conjunction with Pluto at 0 degrees. Mercury, for you, rules the sign of Gemini, which for you is occupied in your 7th house of partnership relationships. Also, your 10th house, Mercury rules Virgo as well. Your 10th house of career, your social status, public standing, your legacy out in the world, how people view you. right? So Mercury coming into a conjunction with Pluto in your third house, you could be having conversations with a partner. So whether you're partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment, if you're single, this will likely to be to do with your work or your vocation. And for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, you could be having conversations with your significant other at the moment that are either impacting your career, or there could be things happening in your career that are impacting the relationship directly. There can be power struggles with Pluto, and with Mercury in the mix. Mercury likes the third house. Mercury is naturally attuned to this energy. Pluto not so much, but this could be that through conversations you come into new understandings or information that you didn't have before. This could be as well that maybe you have conversations with, in your seventh house is relationships in general, personal, professional, platonic, and familial, right? Through the conversations that you're having in those different spheres of your life, you might come to realize how partners or collaborators or connections actually feel about certain things. Pluto is power and control, and the dynamics of and through communications, this can be really intense right now, because it also rules that career sector, as I was saying. There's a chance here that you could be having a hard conversation about your work or your vocation, and this could be where things get maybe a little bit loud, potentially even a little bit shouty. All very possible, right? It's also possible that some kind of finance matter around contracts or commitments comes up, and it needs to be worked out through either, you know, out and through, should I say. Now, in terms of local connections or maybe one with a sibling, this could be some serious thought around this moment in time, where you could be having like a general air of intensity around the way that you speak. So how people receive you at the moment is going to be a lot more intense than maybe you mean it, right? So if you feel people pushing back, don't get into the power struggle with them. Ask yourself, is there a way for me to soften how I'm approaching this right now, or how people are receiving me? This isn't about editing yourself or censoring everything that you say, or, you know, having to tone it down because you're too much. It's not about that. It's about the way that people are receiving you. And, you know, if someone's not receiving you in the right way and they're getting really defensive and they start sort of going on the offense, step back and ask yourself, where is it that this person is receiving me in a way that I am not meaning to come across, right? Now, outside of that, I really, really love this transit for research. I love this for that. Like if you are researching something, if there's something you want to learn, this is a transit that you want, right? Lean in now. Okay, for this you got the Five of Cups. There is a potential that this could create a deal breaker of some sort, right? Because the third house is also contracts. Mercury rules your seventh, which is also contracts. You've got this with the Star card. So this could be where maybe a larger or future leaning orientated opportunity. Maybe you say to yourself, you know what, actually, I don't know if this is for me. The other thing with the Star card, because it represents a glimpse into the future, there is a moment here, my dear Saggies. I do wonder if you are presented with a vision of some sort. And it's like through this vision, you might have a moment where you realize very quickly, if I embark on this path, it's going to completely change the dynamic of my relationship, of my work, of my, you know, the way that people view me, whatever the case might be. This is, even though it's not sacrifice houses indicated, Pluto is here. And so it does with these cards, it feels like you're getting a glimpse into the future where you're going to say to yourself, wow, in order for me to move forward here, I am going to have to, you know, something's going to have to come to a close. You've got this with the Seven of Wands. Again, I'm not saying don't defend your viewpoint. I'm actually saying the opposite. What I am saying is sometimes to get that viewpoint across, we actually need to find a softer way to land it, right? Rather than, it's like, you know, when the gymnasts do their landings, they bend their knees slightly, right? They don't just go straight in with straight legs, because what's going to happen? You're going to shatter your ankles, your feet, you know, and your knees, right? Say goodbye to those, because that's kind of that. Now, As if that wasn't enough, on the 13th of the month, so by the way, if I ever don't mention the degrees or whatever, please don't worry about it. You can check the description box. I always put them in there with the dates so that you can find that information. When I'm in the flow, I'm not worried about those kinds of things, right? I open the channel and I just kind of let it go. So I always cover those bases elsewhere. There's always a method to Rafi's madness, I can assure you. Well, most of the time anyway. All right, so on the 13th of the month, Mars, the planet, so if Pluto is power, control, big money, secrets, it's the hidden undercurrents and the pure potential of whatever it touches. Mars is, if Pluto is big power, or the power in general, Mars is your personal power, your personal willpower. This is coming into a conjunction with Pluto. This is quite frankly one of the most explosive and intense energies in all of astrology, right? It's really intense. There's no getting around it. Both of these planets in some regard are concerned with power. Mars being your power, Pluto being the, power as the general experience and power that you're not in control of, right? The things that are out of your control. Now, this being said, Mars for you in your chart rules your 5th house of pleasure, joy, romance, children, your personal ideas, speculative endeavors. This actually, especially in the 3rd house, I really like this for learning a new physical skill. So maybe you see something on TV and you think, you know what, I've always wanted to learn to do the splits, or I've always wanted to learn to kick a football, or, I've always wanted to learn to do a backflip, whatever the case might be. This could be a time where if you channel that power in a very focused way, you could meet that goal, right? Like you could really go after something because the 5th house is a very active space in the chart. Now, Mars for you also, because it's the ancient ruler of Scorpio, Mars also rules your 12th house, right? Your past, things from the past, etc. Now, because they're coming into a conjunction, and Pluto as the modern ruler of Scorpio also rules your 12th house. This is a very powerful 12th house flavor, right? There's no getting around this. Now, if Mars rules your 5th of creativity, ideas and the like, Pluto rules your 12th house. This is deep. It's something coming to light at this moment. If Pluto is secrets and Mars is actions, what you have done in your past may not necessarily remain hidden now. Now, let me talk about this because I know a lot of you are like, oh, fucking hell, here we go, right? Your 12th house, past deeds, past experiences. The 12th house is also the house of self-sacrifice, right? The 6th house truly actually is also a house of sacrifice, but that's more on a conscious level. The 12th house is more the spiritual or the moral compulsion that we have. So it doesn't have to be that I made this mistake when I was 17 and now it's coming back to haunt me. This could be something that you did in your past that you thought nobody would ever hear about, and all of a sudden, I'm just trying to think of a really good example. Yes. So I don't know if you know this, but many years ago, George Michael, he died in 2016, but many years ago there was a couple. He was in the hospital for somebody else, and I think he overheard a couple talking about how, they'd gone through IVF and this was the last time because they couldn't afford it and they were broke and it was all this, that and the other, and all they wanted was to start a family. He actually contacted the hospital and he paid for all of their IVF and all of their treatment and sent them money and all this other stuff. Nobody knew about that until he passed away. So, and this is not to say that all Saggies are going to suddenly pass away. What I'm saying here is it doesn't have to be this awful thing that you've done in your past. It could be something really wonderful that you've done in your past that you never wanted praise or thanks or whatever for that comes to light at this time. It could, however, also be something that you've done in your past that maybe you didn't want anybody to know about comes to light. And because it's in the 3rd house, there is a chance that this could be communicated out to your local area. Maybe, you've written a book and, that book is really, taboo or whatever. And maybe in your area, nobody knows that. And then somebody finds out and they out you in a way, right? Like this could be something like that as well. Now, if you have, on a more personal level, if you've got siblings, they might be a bit of a hot or a hard topic at the moment because the 3rd house is siblings. It's possible as well, because your 5th house is indicated with Mars as well. If you've got children, this could be something that has been shared between your children and your sibling that hasn't been shared with you. Now, this could be as innocent as they're planning a surprise party for you, and you know, somehow you stumble on it and you uncover it, and it's like, oh shit, you know what, they found out. Well, there goes that. Could be as innocent as that. It could also be where they come to, you know, an uncle or an aunt and say, look, you know, I feel like I'm ready for my first time, right? And, you know, they don't want to talk to their parent about it because, you know, any number of reasons. We've all been young once. So it's possible as well, like, that if this comes to light, it could be quite tough. That's just one permutation of how this could show up. Now, there is also something here that I think a lot of you are very clear that you are ready, willing and able to see through. And it's almost like you're willing to die for this, right? Like, this is an idea that has, you know, possessed your very soul in some way, and you just can't seem to get it out of your mind. Now, for this, you've got the 6 of Wands. For personal ideas and endeavours, go after it because you've got it. You've got the 7 of Pentacles. This might be where you are willing to put your money where your mouth is and nobody else understands it. They're like, I can't make heads or tails of it. Doesn't make sense. Don't think it's a good move. What are you doing? Rah-de-rah-de-rah. You got this with the 2 of Swords, right? So if you are seeking to gain some sort of compensation or recompense, I do feel like that is possible, but it's not going to be a fast process. If this starts now, you will be looking at least 2 months from now before you see any, you know, before you see any of this really settled. Okay. On the 22nd of the month, Mars comes into a conjunction with his celestial lover Venus, and these happen at 7 degrees. Because Pluto's such a power player, we could still technically call this a conjunction to Pluto. Venus is now in the same sign, and she's bringing a breath of fresh air. Venus rules an air sign of Libra, which for you is your 11th house, and she also rules your 6th house of your physical body, but your routines as well. She's bringing a healing balm here, right? Venus is cooling the fire of Mars and softening the intensity of Pluto. She's calming everyone's words and helping you to ease up at this time. And because this is all in the 3rd house, this is nicer words, calmer words. You know, she's really helping you get your connections, your commitments, to bring more diplomacy in, to help you to bring the right level of escape and perspective to help you ease things up. It's also to help you realize that to maintain your personal relationships, you're going to need to put in new lines of communication, and potentially even one that enhances skills that you personally had thought, you know, I'm never going to use that again. For this, you've got the Hanged Man, so take it easy at this time around anything to do with partners, lovers, significant others. This could also be around a father or an important man in your life. You got this with the Queen of Pentacles. So Queen of Pentacles, usually a Taurus, Capricorn or Virgo woman. But with the Emperor, this is usually somebody that is very well known for what they do and also very good at what they do. This person could help give you some much needed perspective in some regard. And this could also be that a lot of you are taking some time out to visit a place that represents wellness. So maybe you are, you know, on the heavier end of it, this could be where you go to some kind of anger management. On the lighter side of it, it could be where you're going to get really active about some kind of personal care, right? How you really look after yourself. And then finally, as if all of that wasn't enough, Mercury is going to come into a conjunction with Saturn, that's already in the sign of Pisces, and the Sun, which is coming in for its annual sojourn, right? All of this happens at 10 degrees of Pisces, which for you represents your home, property, real estate, where you live, how you live there, and who you live with. Saturn for you rules your 2nd house of money, finances and resources, and your 3rd house of communications, conversations and skills. The 2nd house also represents possessions. So I do wonder here, because the sun for you, the sun rules Leo, which for you occupies the 9th house. This could be that you're spending money on something that you personally see as quite valuable or invaluable for your forward momentum, especially because Mercury for you again rules your 7th house of contracts, and it also rules your 10th house of career matters. This is a moments of, or like moments of interaction that require real emotional consideration and depth. And, you know, in order for you to have conversations around matters of payment and resources and even relationship ideas when it comes to your work, your career, your profession, your social status, this could be a powerful moment. Like, you know, it really could, especially if you're in the right emotional state to have certain conversations with family members, with, you know, or even around property matters. For this, you've got the Chariot card with the Hermit, okay, and the Sun card. Wow, that's absolutely beautiful. This is opportunity that opens up for you, but it's kind of like it's for you and for you only. So this might be something that maybe you want to share with somebody that you love or care about, or maybe give away to somebody because it's like, oh, you know, this is great for me, but it would be even better for you. Don't have that option. This is decidedly specifically for you, and for a lot of you, this might have a travel slant to it. Interestingly enough, the Sun for you rules your 9th house of foreign travel, distant lands, foreign cultures, legal matters and proceedings. With these cards, the Chariot and the Sun especially, there's some kind of journey or travel that you're likely to be thinking about taking at this time. Because the Hermit's involved, this might be a journey or a trip that you take on your own. Even if you're partnered, right? It's possible that that might show up for some of you. Not guarantee. Now, for your lunations, the Sun at this time will be on the 9th of February. The Sun and the Moon will be coupled in the sign of Aquarius. So this is a 3rd house new moon. 3rd house of communications, conversations, skill sets. Maybe you're upgrading yours in some way, shape or form. Maybe you're having communications. And you've had 3 cards jump out, and 2 of them were upright. Okay, so the first one to land was this. So that's your new moon message, the gate 7 and discipline. There's some kind of hard work here around gaining a new skill, learning something new, taking on board a new methodology or idea or ideal in some way, shape or form that shows up for you. And that gate 7 and discipline is also going to highlight to you who is on the same mission. This 3rd house being a day-to-day house, it's our local environment. And as the saying goes, what and who you surround yourself with on a consistent basis. You know, we've got, so as many of you know, I'm part Greek. And in Greek, we have a saying, tell me who your friends are, and I'm going to tell you who you are, right? This is very much that. Like, I got goosebumps as I said that. Like, this is very much that. Who and what you are surrounded by is giving you your results at the moment. And I think this new moon, you're going to become very aware of it. Now, even though it's a new moon, which is a dark moon, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, your full moon happens in the sign of Virgo, which for you is your career house. Your 10th house of, literally the most visible part of you, of your chart, is showing up here. If there's something you want to launch out into the world, this is a great time to do it. You are going to be in the spotlight, in the astral spotlight in some way, shape or form. And for that reason, you want to use this, right? You want to make sure that you are shining in a way that you feel comfortable with, in a way where you really are in control of what that kind of looks like. This can also highlight to you what it is that you're trying to achieve when it comes to your legacy out in the world and what the long-term goal actually is. Okay, and for this you've got the gate 20 and the now. Where is the power, right? According to Eckhart Tolle, the power is now, right? It's always now. And when we think about it, the only moment we ever have is right now. You know, the last 20 however many minutes of this video, they're done. I am here right now. And you know, when I'm reading tarot and connecting to my own intuitive channel, that's coming right now, right? Whether I'm speaking on past or future events, completely different matter. but I'm speaking now and I'm channeling that now, right? And anybody that does this kind of work, astrologer, numerologist, tarot reader, you know, I Ching, energy work, it's all, you know, you're all channeling something at any given moment. Bring yourself into the now, right? That Virgo full moon is going to highlight something to you in your career and your social status or your legacy for the world. And this will be highlighting what that actually is for you. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. And like I said, if you want to get your personal reading, you can do so on the link in the description box below. Take care, and I'll see you soon.